second annual Atari Network Fuji Awards.
And we are excited to get into this. I got the awards. This year, the budget was cut, so the awards got a little smaller, but here they
That's really close to the camera, too, folks.
Weirdest Atari product. There's been some odd stuff released, Vinny. And I don't know if you've partaken in any of these. Have you purchased any of the oddball stuff that's been released?
I forgot every this is going to be news to me. I forgot everything in this can. Okay, no, I've not had the coffee.
You have not had the coffee. This was a limited edition cross promotion Atari VCS blend dark roast coffee. So the next nominee here is the Decanter set.
Yeah.
So you can obviously put apple juice or
we're non-drinkers, so that's what
right.
We'd have to put like we'd have to put like Diet Coke in those.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
And finally we have who wouldn't want this Hobby Lobby canvas art of old Atari cartridges. They don't even look like, some of them don't look pristine even. They just look like somebody's collection that they took a picture of. And I
think most Atarians like ordering them, like putting the Activision together and the
right. That's the other thing.
And the burgundy labels together. I think that would drive everybody absolutely nuts.
Yeah, there you go. So the winner is, Vinny. Do you remember who won the category? Who's going to
get this? It has to be the Decanters, right?
It is the Decanter set is the winner of the weirdest product. Not for being the weirdest, but I think for being just probably the coolest out of the weird products.
That's the weirdest.
But next category, Atari VCS, best third-party game, Vinny. How many third-party games have you played on the VCS this year? Have you played all these?
Again, I mean, we actually did work on this. I didn't play any of these games.
So this is Circus Interstellar. Have you played Circus Interstellar, Vinny?
I just said I didn't play any of these.
Oh, you didn't play any of these. Okay. Circus Interstellar was an awesome game from Ettonsoft. And this game was incredible to me. Very reminiscent almost of Smash TV, or let me see if I can pull up. This is a boss fight here.
He's on the ground. He's not floating around.
Yeah, so you're the spaceman there. But that's Circus Interstellar, and to me that's
pretty good.
Yeah, it was an awesome game for the year.
Well, let's not go crazy.
Up next, we have Cash Cow DX.
Oh, we got some music on this one.
There, I'll keep the volume relatively low. How about that? Because the volume the sound was actually not that bad on this, I don't think. But yeah, Cash Cow DX was created by the people that brought us what was it, Dodo, and this, yeah, that one was really good. I personally like this one better, and I think it comes down to a preference thing. I pulled up somebody's YouTube video. It was just quicker. But yeah, this is Wild Dogs. You haven't played any of these, Vinny?
I haven't played any of these, John.
Oh, wow. Wild Dogs came out, I believe, in like January. It was an early release on the VCS. But this game was awesome. And one of the coolest things about it, not the coolest, but a fun aspect for it, is you can actually change the background colors from like, you see how it's kind of reddish right now. You can almost give it
it's like a monochrome thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if this person, he doesn't seem to be altering it at all. But you can change kind of the graphical presentation a little bit of it. You also have your dog friend with you the whole time. You can see he's a good boy. So this is our last nominee. It is, let me get this right, I believe it's Super 3D Maze 16. A demo had been out on this for a while. It recently came out in the full version. It has some first person aspects. It's basically a arcade maze style. I mean, it's all in the name. It's Super 3D
Make me
Maze
feel like I'm gonna fall down.
So there is our 4 nominees, Vinny.
And to answer Sabretooth, no, I did not vote on this category because I didn't play any of these games.
And the winner is, it was a close category. And honestly, I think all of those games are great. And there's a ton of other great third-party VCS games. But in our opinion, after me and Vinny played these games for many hours and discussed them, Cash Cow DX is our Atari VCS third-party game of 2024.
It was the most colorful, and John liked simple things like colors. Biggest Atari related surprise of 2024, and I did get the vote on this because I was surprised often.
Yep.
Do
you want to rattle off these nominees and explain them, Vinny?
Okay, well, biggest Atari related surprise, anything in the universe of Atari, which is kind of what John really specializes in, is anything that could be VCS, Jaguar, homebrew, anything, weird third-party things that pop out of nowhere and stuff that flies over from Germany in crushed boxes. There was a lot of stuff this year that was a surprise. I think I don't know. This is going to be an interesting category. You guys will probably disagree with what I picked. So
the first nominee of biggest surprise in 2024, Atari buying Intellivision, and
very
that
wild.
Was a big one.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever think you would see that?
I wish Atari would get like Battlezone and the Atari games rights and stuff, like for Paperboy and Gauntlet and Marble Madness and stuff. But as a consolation to see them kind of take over this, and then one of the Atari 50th anniversary collections download DLCs is the first console war was between. So this would be like Nintendo buying Sega.
But yeah. Second nominee is the announcement of the Atari 7800 Plus. So not the console itself, but the announcement of it. And yeah, that's something I didn't see coming either. A lot of people didn't think it was necessary, and they could be right. I mean,
they could be right.
And our third nominee is the Falling Leaves cartridge from the eJagFest. So again, they said they had a surprise, and they brought us a cool felt glued cartridge, which I enjoyed.
Did you have a picture of that? So we'll talk about this in a minute. But this is a multi-cart from Germany, and you could get one with felt on it. And it's called Falling Leaves. I mean, it sounds
Games
like
collection from the past.
It sounds like Falling Leaves sounds like if the drummer from a glam band has a solo project that's all ballads, and it's like the guy calls it Falling Leaves, but it's a multi-cart of all the games of Gambler, and we'll get into that here in a second.
Not Gambler, but Carry as well.
You can get a dragon. That's the dragon version.
Yep, I'm glad I got this one.
And then you can get that's a dragon. I thought it looked more like a satanic cat.
Sabretooth said it's an
pirate, and apparently the pirate hat is falling off of these cartridges. And what else do we have for these?
And our last nominee is the announcement of Fatal Run 2089. Again, kind of came out of nowhere for myself. I don't know.
Look, man. I know on my website I rate Fatal Run pretty poorly, but I loved that game as a kid, man. I loved Fatal Run, and it being announced with how cool it looks, it kind of the speed and the scope of it reminds me of Excite Truck for the Wii, which I thought Excite Truck was one of the best games for the Wii.
So, Vinny, who is the winner, or what is the winner of the biggest Atari related surprise?
Now, this is going to piss off everybody in the chat. But I'm going with Gambler's Falling Leaves cart, and I'm going to tell you why. If you're familiar with Gambler's games, and my website, I trash Gambler's games left and right. And this multi-cart, I'm not lying, is really good. It's got, how many, 8 or 9 games on it?
8.
The variety of the games are very good. There's a shooter, there's a maze game, there's a breakout game, which is really good. There's an Elvira mixology game, which is bizarre. There's 3 text adventures, which are better than most of Gambler's text adventures. Like the ET book card is terrible.
But it all can't be great, Vinny. There are some negatives, far less lately than there were in Atari's past, but there still are fumbles, stumbles, and bumbles. And this year we have not, like I said, we haven't had a whole lot of disappointment, in my opinion. You know, we have personal opinions of things. You might not like a release. You might not be thrilled with the way something was handled, but there isn't a whole lot that you can definitively look at and say that was a bad decision, or that didn't make a lot of sense, or that should have been handled better.
What I would like to nominate is the VCS still not coming out of the box.
We did talk about that.
The VCS not coming out of the box, ready to go. And he got this VCS anyway, and he couldn't get it. Was a nightmare. I had to actually take it from him and wipe it off and fix it for him. And it was a pain in the butt. And the fact that the Atari VCS coming out of the box, that inept is a fumble still to this day. I know they always try to fix it, but it seems like there's always a problem. But and then my other fumble is, and again, this is a minor one, is I would say the 7800 development this year, homebrew, has taken a huge step back as far as physical cart releases.
I would agree with that, actually, because we've been talking for a while, and it seems like every year prior we had a release, we would call each other, or when we did, come in contact, we would say, man, did you hear about Popeye? Did you hear about EXO, Night Guy? We were excited about something. And this year, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff that happened.
Of the biggest Atari related fumble we're going to get to right now. So you announced the
winner. And I nominated this, and I think we both agreed, but the winner and your trophy will come upside down for the biggest fumble, stumble, or bumble, is the fact that AtariAge still, if they've just recently done it, but as far as I know, they're still working to complete orders from a sale over 18. We did the math. I think it was 18 months ago now. And again, we understand why. People always say Albert's a great guy. He's a one-man show. He's working as hard as he can, and we love Albert too. I love Albert. I've talked to him.
I've had a little strong. I like the guy,
and people are upset. People confuse me with being affiliated with Atari and AtariAge and all that stuff. And I've been getting some of the brunt of the Last Chance Orders taking so long to go out. So I can't imagine the stuff Albert's hearing for it. But we have another person or entity to acknowledge here, Vinny. And this is a big category for us. And in general, it's our Atari person or entity of the year for 2024. But we did nominate, I think we have a good lineup of nominees.
A delicious lineup.
You don't know who our nominees are, do you? You didn't write any of this down?
I know. I know some, yes.
Well, go ahead and name who you
Bob DeCrescenzo is one.
Yep. Robert DeCrescenzo, Pac-Man Plus.
Huh? Yeah, Pac-Man. He doesn't go by that anymore. That's a dead name him every time you say that. He was talking about, he wanted to always release an Atari game as an official Atari game, and man, did his dream come true this year, where they re-released the Atari 7800, and all 6 new games are his games.
I was going to say it came true 6 times over.
But going back, also entity of the year, 0 Point Homebrew was
Zero Page Homebrew.
Huh?
0 Page Homebrew.
What are they? They're Canadian. They don't count anyway. No, it's a husband and wife team, and they got a bunch of cats that are crapping and pissing everywhere. But they have done, me and you couldn't even do a podcast for a year and a half. They have been doing a podcast featuring these homebrews for all the systems, and the guy still, to this day, looks like he's having a good time, and half the time the wife seems like she's somewhat interested.
Again, they every week, I think they feature 2 or 3 games every episode, and a lot of obscure stuff too. They give time to be out there in front of the Atari community, and like you said, me and you know how hard it is to do a podcast. We couldn't do it for a full year, or we did it for just over a year or something. And
we ended up hating each other. It was awful.
Yeah, we fought. There was money disputes. I think a gun was pulled or a knife was pulled at one point.
Our other one is Muddy Funster, who
Yep.
is a sweet guy and who is always developing really cool games. And he's got a game coming out called Bernie and the Tower of Fungus. What is it called?
Yeah. Tower of Doom, I thought.
Like, how are they packing all this stuff into a cartridge without some sort of engine on the outside or some sort of gasoline thing? And Muddy's made a lot of great games, and it's exciting that he's going to be able to release that. And the fact that it's his own IP, I think I saw on the AtariAge forums this week, he's done with the game. And I think, which congratulations, that seems like that game would have been tough to program. And our fourth candidate in this category is a guy who does a podcast, and or not a podcast, but he has a video game channel, and he's totally devoted to the Atari. And his name is Ballistic Coffee Boy. And if you watch his videos, he does a very good job, and he's completely devoted to the Atari. He doesn't really do anything else outside of the Atari games, kind of like John. And he is doing a great job fighting the fight as well. So who, out of those four nominees, who is the entity of the year?
The person or entity of the year, in this case, is going to be person, is Robert DeCrescenzo, is our person of the year for 2024. And I think, really far and away, this has been his year, I think, especially with Atari proper. 6 releases, and he deserves it. For so long, he kept the 7800 alive. He kept interest alive. He put games out on it. I'm so happy for
he was a major force. Kurt Vendel,
unfortunately,
Albert,
rest in peace.
Albert from AtariAge,
Albert, Lance.
There was a lot of even Crossbow, who's in here, was a big help keeping stuff alive. At the end of the day, I think this is a victory lap for Bob and everybody else, because there's people like Bobby Clark who makes music for his games and Muddy's games, and he does a great job. There's all these guys. It's kind of like he represents everybody in a way, and everybody loves Bob. So congratulations, Bob. You're the Atari Person of the Year.
Best Atari hardware of the year for 2024. And there was actually quite a bit that came out, surprisingly. Yeah. It started out strong. We had the end of the year releases last year, and we moved right into 2024 with the Atari 400 Mini, which was huge in my opinion. I got it as soon as I could, and it was really cool. It was my first experience with the Atari 8-bits. We weren't a computer family. We were a blue-collar family. I didn't have a computer growing up until I think year 2000. We got one finally when they were clearanced out during that whole crisis, or what they thought was going to be a crisis. So going back and experiencing some of the games that were on the 8-bit and being able to play 5200 games on something other than 5200 was cool. So I think that was a very solid piece of hardware, and one that still holds up. That's nominee number 1. Number 2 nominee we have is of course, Atari 7800 Plus. Again, it would have been so much bigger had the 2600 Plus not have been released just a year prior. I think that kind of dilutes it a little bit and makes it less exciting. I feel like overall it's a better initial experience than the 2600 was. I think in my testing, more stuff works with it out of the box.
I think it's great. It's exciting. I thought the lineup of games was fun and kind of weird.
Anyway, moving on to our next nominee. Was a very cool item and something that I guess had been in the works for a long time, but I had seen it released for the first time this year. The Atari 2600 movie cart. And watching movies on a 2600, full-length movies it's just...
Do you have a video of this?
I don't know. I didn't bring up any videos of any of the... you want me to search a video? And our last nominee is the Blazes, Evercade, a Super Pocket, Hyper Mega, Atari Edition, handheld, Super Pocket,
Did I
wood
name
grain
this
edition.
thing? That's the most
Yeah, right.
ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. The Super Pocket.
It's the Super Pocket, I
What you
believe.
got in there, baby?
It's cool. I got mine right here.
I want this. I don't
See
have
how
this.
dirty my screen is? Hold on, I gotta clean this.
That's Toledo. It's just you go outside and it just gets in your lungs, all over your clothes. I
That's
want
that
this.
good.
I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like that? Pretty good?
Yeah, if you like Evercade, it's more of an Evercade thing, I think, than an Atari thing. It's got the Atari ROM spilled in, but what I've primarily been doing with it is going back and playing Legacy of Kain on it, which that series of games is awesome. That's a whole different topic, but Legacy of Kain is incredible.
But you can play really bad video games that your friend from Toledo likes.
So our winner, and I think we both agreed on this, I'm pretty sure, was the Atari 400 Mini. And again, being primarily something that we didn't have before. With the other nominees, there was other Super Pocket handhelds. You could get Atari cartridges. Most of those built-in games on that Super Pocket Evercade were mostly available already on the Evercade and obviously elsewhere. And same thing, 7800 plus was a rehash almost. That not, I guess rehash isn't the best way to say it, but it was done the year prior, right? The 400 Mini was something new. It's something exciting. I think it's held up. The 400 Mini actually got me so interested in the 8-bit line that I went out and bought an XEGS, something I never thought I would do. But yeah, that's got to be the winner in my opinion.
I
by
agree.
far.
Yeah, congratulations, whoever came up with that idea.
Best WIP work in progress Atari game of the year. So,
my God.
Yep, there are several games that have been worked on. They've started working on it this year, maybe made major progress this year. Operation Follow Through. For those that don't know, this was in the Jag Jam 2024. If you're not aware of what that is, people get together and make Atari Jaguar games. So this is something that was started there, and the developer is going to finish it up, clean it up, and eventually release it in a full game version. And it's basically Virtua Cop or Area 51, if you will, for the Jaguar. And it's what everybody always cries for. They want 3D games on the Jag. This is 3D, and it's a genre that I think Jag Zombies tried to do it, but that guy's games are trash. So you can pull up here, and I will let you talk about our next nominee while I pull up the next one, and that is Night Guy.
Well, that's even an old graphic, but Night Guy 30 squares of Doom or the Night Guy and 30 squares of Fate, whatever he names it. This is Vad Zaninga, and this is the guy from Chile who makes awesome, just amazing 2600 and 7800 games. And at first, when you look at this and go, this probably is a piece of crap game. Who wants to play a board game? To me, and I'm about to do a video of this game. The 7800 had a pretty bad 2024.
Yeah.
And we need this game to, as a community, to be released and to be unreal.
And that's Dreadnought Assault,
awesome.
Turmoil. And this was a demo that was presented years ago to show off what the 7800 could potentially do.
Yeah.
And it was never supposed to go beyond the demo, but now they've decided to actually make it a game. I think they've decided that it's worth pursuing and seeing through to the end and putting something out. And
there's an article on my website about this game a couple years ago about these guys just basically want to show how many sprites and colors the 7800 could show at once.
Yep.
And basically it's a Dreadnought Assault. It's kind of like Dreadnought Factor, but it's like 10 times better than Dreadnought Factor even now, or more complicated and interesting. You've got flying dragons and all sorts of stuff. One button shoots, one button reverses, going forward and backward. And you got to rescue people stuck on this ship. You got to blow up weak spots, and you get power-ups. look at all that stuff going on there. It's unreal. It's so fun to play.
But this right here is our final nominee, Mortal Kombat for the Atari Jaguar. This is Mortal Kombat 1, and this is actually me playing the alpha version 0.2. Right now it's 2-player only in this condition. If you want to play it on your game drive, just support True Fun Games over at their Patreon.
Now, wait a minute. I heard about this. Is that Kasumi Ninja?
Yep.
So he made his own character.
Basically, yeah. And the character seems a little overpowered. I don't know if I have it on this video. That character, yeah, I'm playing as him there. So you can kind of do the ball thing that I've seen. Is that Reptiles move? I can't remember. And you kind of scoot underneath the guy and you can go back and forth and just not give him a chance. And he also has this move where he holds up his hand and kind of just snaps and sets the other guy on fire. He seems a little overpowered to me. I think he needs to do some balancing, but other than that, this port is amazing. And I think the coolest part about this isn't even the game itself. It's the fact that he is documenting the whole process over on his YouTube channel. But yeah, no. So those are our nominees. And the winner is, Vinny, do you want to name the winner or?
You do it.
The winner is, in our opinion, Mortal Kombat from True Fun Games. Again, I think I'm sure every journey is just as difficult, but the fact that he's kind of giving the inside scoop on everything as he goes really makes you appreciate the game and everything that's gone into. I've not figured out his fatality. You can see there I'm trying. I think all.
Are you dancing with the guy? You flirting with the guy, or what are you doing?
His fatality, he uppercuts his head off and then does a jump kick and kicks the head off the screen. It's kind of neat.
Looks like Midway okayed this, so I think this is pretty awesome.
And this is an alpha too.
Huh?
This is an alpha too. Like he's still going to clean it up and add the bosses in and everything. So we have our second to last category, best homebrew. Jesus Christ.
You tired, honey?
Best hemorrhoid released in 2024. Best homebrew game released in 2024. And this is usually a big category, Vinny, but it's a little sparse this year.
We had a hard time coming up with this. And we're talking about releases that on some sort of cart, not just a free ROM.
And it had to have been this year. It could have been released another year, but it's something that
had to be something released this year.
So our first nominee, this is the trailer from it. Again, Audace.
I thought it said more than 3 inches. I was like, good Lord.
More than 4 inches. So Audacity Games has been, speaking of heat, they putting out some fire games on the 2600, and as they should, because it is the Kitchen Brothers, Van Ryzen, all of our favorite old Activision developers returning to the 2600, to what made them famous. But now we have Casey's Gold, and it's been a big release, I think, for Audacity, especially over the holidays. It came out, I think, at the right time with the 2600 or 7800 plus coming out and stuff. Our next nominee that we are presenting now is a Jaguar game, Jumping at Shadows. Was
great
released.
Box art on this. I love what the box looks like.
Yep, technically released right at the tail end of the year. I'm not sure if anybody's received their copies yet or not. We're not going to get into that, but you can play a version from Rebooted right now, I believe. But still, this is a game that a lot of people have been anticipating. Rebooted does some excellent 2D games on the Jaguar, and this seems to be the same thing. The graphic style looks great, in my opinion. It's very stylistic. Yeah. So that is our second nominee. Our third nominee is another 2600 game, and one that Atari released this year. It was out under a different name, but now it has been released under its proper name from Champ Games, the Caverns of Mars game.
And that's actually the older. That's kind of a the reason this is kind of in this category is because they did update it a little bit for the new release, so it's not exactly the AtariAge homebrew.
Yeah, I just grabbed the AtariAge footage real quick, but this isn't conducive to the final product. It's
a great game, Unreal. It's going on behind me. we've talked about this before. I think Caverns of Mars Recharge, which you can now play on your Netflix games. You don't even have to have an Atari to play that. Yeah. Is one of the better recharge games, and this is one of the first homebrews back in the 8-bit days that became like an official release. And this part, I hate those things. The little moving little laser lines can go to hell. But
Vinny holding Bounty Bob Strikes Back here. So this is
spoiler alert. You gave this a 2. This one's not.
I
going
gave
to
it
win.
a 2.
Yeah, you gave this
I
a
gave
2
it
on
a
your
2.
website.
Well, it could still win. Not my website, my YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Because you gave it a 3.5, and you really enjoyed it. You said you've been playing it quite a bit lately. You've been addicted.
I've played Bounty Bob and Miner 2049er before on the 50th anniversary, and I thought they were terrible, and I didn't understand what I was doing. But Bob's tweak on this, and this is why we're calling it a homebrew, is because Bob did tweak it because he made it to where you can steer the jumping. And this year's winner is going to be Casey's Gold, man. I mean, you can't deny the quality and just how awesome. What impresses me is just with the 2600, just what they have done. I mean, all this stuff, all this gameplay. Look at all this shit going on. I mean, it's just unreal that this is a 2600. Look at that. That's one of the little gameplay elements, is the little mining cart element. And they do neat things too, like Space Invaders is in there, and the Scorpion from Pitfall's in there. So I mean, it scratches everything. It looks great. It's got good sound for what it is.
We have our second to last category, and this might be, if it weren't for the next category, this would be the biggest of the show.
The next one is a huge category.
Yeah, that's the one everybody's waiting for. No, this is the best game released by Atari in 2024. We do have, I think, 4 nominees.
So here's our first candidate of 4, our first nominee.
Yep, first nominee.
I know what this is.
Yep, this is a very interesting take on the Pong style of gameplay. I was surprised how much I liked it, and I was quite addicted to it until I got through it, actually. This is... And again, I still don't know what the pronunciation of it should be. Quamp or Comp 2?
Queef.
Yeah, there you go. Queef 2 for multi-platforms, tons of platforms. I played it on the VCS and PC. So you take your ball on an adventure. Your Pong ball, you fight bosses, you go through worlds. It's a very depressing industrial type world that this ball is venturing through. And there's atmospheric music playing. There's crazy enemies that want to eat the ball and they chase it. You fight the Pong paddle as a boss and warlords and stuff. So the whole thing is, I think this is an excellent game.
Love it.
Oh yeah. Our next nominee here, and we got some raw gameplay footage we're showing. This was probably their biggest profile release of the year, I think, or maybe one they were banking on more so than some of the others. At least it felt like it to me. I could be wrong. Way Forward did program this. Way Forward has a great reputation in the retro community. But this, of course, is Yars Rising for multi-platforms, VCS. I played it on the PC for the review. The game itself is a Metroidvania, and it's actually a competently done one, if not a bit on the basic side. It's everything I would expect. It's taken few risks, in my opinion.
This stuff ain't bad. This is a great game for the price, man.
Another nominee, and this is another anime-inspired thing that had me a little worried before I played it, but it is surprisingly solid. The story is very by the numbers. I feel the characters are as flat can be. There's no real development.
You don't shoot. You're a total peace.
Oh yeah.
You're a peaceful entity. You're like the Futurama gang. You're basically a bunch of couriers, and the solar system's exploding pieces. I think the story's good. I think the voice acting's good, especially for anime. And I was totally blown away at how good this game was. I thought this game was. I think they delayed it too, and I was like, oh, that's never a good sign. And it plays good on the VCS. That's how I play it. And I again, just like Bounty Bob, each level was different than the last. There's one ending screen that was very similar to Missile Command, where you had to reflect things, like there was a bunch of asteroids or space particles attacking a city, and you had to knock them away.
Game of the year, and I think we're both in agreement here, is Lunar Lander Beyond.
Yeah, I think that's
far and away. I think Comp gave it a run for its money. I think yours was a little bit too by the numbers, and I think Lunar Lander was almost perfect. It was very...
Again, we're talking about games that, we're talking about, have you ever played a game like this? Like we're talking about Night Guy. Have you ever played a game like Lunar Lander? I mean, I don't think there's ever been one. And that's an adventure based around a peaceful starship.
But we've reached the pinnacle of the show, Vinny. The one category... Huh? Yeah, the main event. The one thing that everybody has been waiting for with bated breath. Here it is, our main category of the show. Our main category. Best Video 61 Laminated Sheet of 2024.
So, if you buy a Video 61 game, they come with these laminated sheets. I've done a video about the best laminated sheets, and I didn't have the ones from this year. Do you have them?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, good.
This is the Muskie Attack laminated sheet. As you can see, it comes with a comic. Like you get a guy in a chair.
He's playing golf. What's he doing?
He's playing golf. You think it's about muskies. He's got ice cream. Nope, he's going to go fishing in the end.
I thought it was about Putt 18 again.
I know.
They swerved us.
That's how they do it. They combine. That's synergy in their products.
That's a good word. I taught you that word.
You did. So this is Megaoids. You got a guy. Look at that guy. Look. Why can't I get this in here?
I don't know. You having a hard time?
Yeah, there's a guy. There's an asteroid.
Yeah.
And a ship.
Yep.
Pretty
good.
Yeah. Yep. And then you got a manual on the back. But nobody cares about that.
Tells you how to play. That's Megaoids, right?
Megaoids. And our last nominee, this comes with Muskie Attack 2, but it's a separate laminated sheet. This is how to win at Muskie Attack. The big tip-off. Secrets, hints, and tips. And normally you don't get this with your games. But you also got on the back, too, information about the muskie. That's a real-life muskie there, where you can find it.
Of all these awesome laminated sheets, which one is the best one for 2024, John?
Well, I think there's no comparison. I mean, you got this one. Who cares? He's playing golf. You got this one. There's a guy and some things. No, we care about the Muskie Attack, how to win, because you get fun hints on the back. Did you know that muskies or muskellunge are one of the largest freshwater fish in North America and can be found in Minnesota's lakes, where they're known for their elusive trophy-sized catches? They went, in all seriousness, though, the Muskie Attack release was awesome. It came with lots of little feelies and goodies and stuff. So I think like the physical product, having the two sheets, you had the trophy, the QR code, the cartridge with the raised end on it, 3D printed end. I think the presentation was fantastic. No matter what you think about the game, it was a good effort. A few things before we go. Obviously, again, this was the second annual Fuji Awards, brought to you by Atari7800forever.com. For those of you that have never been to that website, it's got every 7800 game reviewed on it. It's a plethora of information, 20 years worth of information on one website, tons of articles, things as they happen. You can read about the excitement of the first homebrews when they were coming out on the 7800. It's kind of a time machine in that regard. It was also, you should bookmark it, because when Bounty Bob Strikes Back comes out, we were all saying how hard it was. Well, guess what website had the first printed documentation of the cheat code or the special code to allow you to choose your level? It was Atari7800forever.com. So thank you very much, Vinny, for running the site and for sponsoring the show.
Well, it was cool. I don't know. I mean, it's you and I are part of this scene, and I keep finding I found a lot of glitches in Bounty Bob too that I haven't documented, but yeah, I found that code, and there's other codes too. So I got to update the website with some new codes for Bounty Bob.
If you're interested, you can check out Vinny's stuff, Funkmaster V, over at Big and Funky Productions on his YouTube channel. Usually you have a contrary take to mine, so you can watch like my Bounty Bob review, see what I think, get mad at me, and then go watch Vinny's and get the proper information that you wish I would have given.
You've done such a good job though. When you first started, there was a lot of ums and crying at the end of the video. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and now you're pretty damn competent. And